Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello. Hi. You're coming off the back of vacation. I'm coming off the back of school holidays. You've got all the things happening at your end, so I will be playing tag on the conversation as always. Going to be a good one. So, highs and lows.
Let's do it.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
What do we got? What do I got for highs and lows? Let's see. High will be we're just coming off vacation as we are recording this, and it was a fantastic vacation. So much fun. Declan loved it. It was so enjoyable to watch him love everything that we did. And my favorite part was that childcare was fair, like in my opinion, because my sister-in-law and her husband my sister-in-law, her boyfriend, and her daughter were there also. And they took turns watching the kids as we did. So it was very much a full family affair. Grandparents got the kids one night, and his aunt got the kids one night. We got the kids one night. So it was very enjoyable, in my opinion.
Amazing.
Shared load. Grandparents might have gotten a little extra time with the kiddos, but we all needed a little bit of break. So,
and they're probably more than willing.
Yeah. The low on this end for me right now is coming back from vacation and my dad being admitted into the hospital for the last round of his chemotherapy and radiation. He was just about to finish this morning as we're recording this, his last treatment, but we didn't get there. So his last step will just be in the hospital. We're just trying to get him healthy back from the crash that he had from the last dose of everything he got. So it's been a little here feeling all the things about a parent not being okay. That's for me today. But Linda, what are your highs and lows?
I think one of the highs for me is I got to spend a fair bit of good time, quality time with the kids over the school holidays, including going to the pool yesterday with the eldest two and a friend. So it meant that they got to go off and play and swim and go down the slide and all that sort of stuff, while I got to do some swimming time, do some laps, and then watching my eldest swim 50 meters, which was very empowering for him and very much a huge accomplishment for him and for me to watch as well. So that was very, very satisfying for everybody and just a proud mama moment. And I think the low, there's a few, but I think what comes to mind at the moment is just juggling the things and feeling like I haven't got enough time to do all the things I want, which is entrepreneurship, full stop. Like, we want to do so many things. And so for me, it's definitely, while I really enjoy a lot of the family time, I know that I also get very fulfilled by the writing and the podcasting and moving the needle forward in business and finding new ways of doing things or creativity And so I could definitely just use a little bit more of that time right now. And generally over the holidays, it does get compromised. That's part of the life that we've set up. That's part of the life we live. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily easier when it does happen. And you miss it at times when it's not there. Even though I had planned for that, I knew that holidays were coming for the whole year. It's just that balance. Yeah. And knowing what lights you up personally and what fills you up personally is also part of the journey we're on as far as the self-care goes as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a good segue into what we're talking about today, and as far as personal values and self-care, because often they shift and change even without being a mother, even without being an entrepreneur. And so it's quite a journey and important, I think, for me to think about how am I living those personal values? Are they changing? What do they mean? What do they do? And am I putting action into my heart and my words and my life as well? So, Jill, do you have a bit of an idea what your personal values are at the moment?
Yes. I don't know what's going on over here. Personal core values. How did I just do some more? One is integrity. I have always included that as one of my values, but definitely honesty, passion, giving support, and empowering others. Those are mine that I've come up with, and I will say they have changed over the years. For sure. What about your values?
I can think of three main ones at the moment, and they are family time. So dinner time for us is a really high value in this household, especially before the kids hit teenage years, which I'm sure will add a whole mix of things to the equation. So having that quality time together for conversations and all those sort of things is very high on the value list. Health and movement is another one. So I'm definitely very much wanting to move every day, wanting to grow fitter, stronger, healthier, and encourage those around me to as much as possible. And I do like to share that value with the kids as well, and making sure that they are doing things like riding their bikes to school or walking the dog 3 times a week, or just moving. We do a lot of playgrounds, we do a lot of parks, we do a lot of swimming and other exercise to make sure that they're not just stuck behind a screen. Yeah. And another big one would be curiosity. So that lifelong learning and seeking out alternatives or better ways, or just a deeper understanding of what is going on around me, what's going on with the world, what's going on with situations. That's definitely right up there as well. Yeah.
I have a question for you regarding our values. I mean, our personal values there are things that we come up with, I think, as we experience life. But did you find yourself actually sitting down to determine and list out your core values, or is it something that you just hold in your heart knowing that you have these values?
I've done both. I have sat down and done an extensive list, and essentially a bit like a tournament of, would you prefer to live with this one, or without this one, or without that one? And so I've done that extensively over the years. However, I do often come back to a very similar set of the 3 that I just mentioned. There might be some others that pop in there, like there are definitely ones that you've mentioned that I also value as well. Honesty, passion is a huge one. Achievement, determination, resilience. Like, there's a lot of words that you can throw into the soup.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a list of hundreds and hundreds of values on the internet to choose from.
There definitely are. And who's not to say you can't make up your own?
Mm-hmm. What about you? Have you sat down and done a list, or just no?
I did, and it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur that I did it, though. And before that, I always just had these ideas floating in my head because, working for other companies, they give you their business core values. So that's usually where my head was always going. Like, everyone always included integrity, and I never really know what it meant until I started entrepreneurship and realized, oh, I'm not just going to be practicing integrity in business. Like, this is actually life core value, not just a business one. So it definitely, I think, promoted that change since over the time, like you were asking about, like, since having kids, have my core values changed. And for me, entrepreneurship and having children coincided. So that was my turning point, I guess, of them being defined versus just what was lived out.
So why do you think integrity makes it to the list so often?
I think it's the best word that encompasses as many as I could probably find and fill out my 5 spaces of my top 5 values where it would be the definition of integrity. So it's always just been, well, why break it down when that one just covers all the bases?
And how do you define it?
This is Janet.
Oh, is it? Can you go to their house over here, buddy?
No. Not funny.
What's not funny?
It was.
Oh, okay. So just it being integrity, living life the way, like, when no one is watching, actually still doing good. And it just feels very much like, for me, with my religious background, being the most Christ-like I could find that value being without saying the religious words part of it. Is clear enough to explain.
Yeah. It's hard to do as a mum, I think, and as an entrepreneur, and as all the hats that we wear. It's hard to be consistent at times when you are overloaded, when you are so hard at work, doing so many things, while also remember to keep yourself in check and learn along the way and remember why it's important to you and all those sort of things. It's hard. It is hard work.
It is. It definitely is. And I think trying to think of this question here. So we're in this. Are we going to be timed out? Yeah. So August is National Breastfeeding Month. And I feel that is, so I'm trying to tie these in. Self-care and our personal values. What is that feeling like? And then I want to celebrate National Breastfeeding Month because there are so many people who hold that as a personal value of theirs and how they want to take care of, or how they always imagine taking care of their family is by including that. And it's just their value to do the natural thing. Maybe that's how it is. So
yeah. I think if we're thinking about a value, for me, when it comes to feeding my babies, it helped me to nurture, which is probably an unsaid value that I have, is nurturing my children and others. It helped me to become confident as well in my attachment to them. It helped me to know that I was giving them the best start that I could. And I know that not everybody is able to feed effectively, and there's lots of reasons why that happens. For me, I extended the feeding probably longer than a lot of other people did. So a little bit of my story, I tandem fed my first two for 9 months after my second was born. So I was still feeding Josh when he was just over 3, and then fed Quinn almost up just over 2, all through pregnancy, or almost all through pregnancy, when he came off just as I was about to finish up my 3rd trimester, I think. So it obviously it's really high up there on something that I like to accomplish. Why that matters as far as personal values go. Yeah, it was a lot of the confidence for me and for them. Yeah. What about for you and your journey? Tell me a bit about what you experienced.
I go back to having had lost the opportunity to do so many things in my birthing plan through my labor and delivery that I did not want to lose the opportunity to breastfeed. Stop it, please. And he was challenging because of the tongue tie and the lip tie and the oral ties, and just continuing to fight for someone to help me find that and make the journey easy. Did get us to be able to do it for over a year. But I think it really does come down to, I didn't want to give that up because I had wanted so many things and they were all taken from me.
Yeah. So it's a determination as well. I think we both value determination.
And, I think so it's for me, one, I didn't have my values really clearly defined before I had him, and it was all businessy kind of figured out at the same time. So who knows, like, which of my values was it going to be that were probably there, or was it, like you said, also just that nurturing one that's kind of understood as we've become moms, and that desire to take care of our family every way. So I think it's still our value to take care of our families in a nurturing way, regardless if we're able to breastfeed or not. And I think it's even more exciting when you have the ability to make the choice instead of it being taken from you. And I know we both struggled with decisions like that, and our bodies deciding for us, or our children's bodies deciding for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting as well, because I have often thought about, is it something we're valuing because we think we should feed for longer because society tells us that is the best thing to do? I did grapple with that a little bit. Yeah. And I'm sure that's only one example of many.
I think for me, that probably ended up being a bigger thing as a first-time mom and doing all these, I think they're called crunchy mom things, like reusable diapers and whatever other kind of sustainable things that can be done. There's a lot of pressure put out there for everybody. And how closely does that relate to, all right, hang on, so loud. How closely does that relate to us being able to practice self-care things that we want to do? something that we value, or is it something we're being told we should value as part of what we're doing?
Yeah, like the reusable nappies, like we call them MCNs, modern cloth nappies. They're great for so many reasons, but bandwidth-wise, it's a huge suck.
Oh yeah.
In hindsight, like, it is because I also went down that path for a lot, and at different stages did different ways of doing things. But I also realize now that at times that actually wasn't the best decision for my life. I wasn't actually being guided by my energy levels, and probably a lot by my values, because are we actually living with integrity if we're doing something because we think we should?
Yeah.
Are we actually living honestly with ourselves if it's frustrating every single time we have to clean it out in the sink and resent it while we're doing it? Is it actually aligning with our values?
That's a great, and it's probably worth us taking a little bit of time to figure out, like, can we really define the first couple? Like, sure, Linda, when you list yours, I don't have family, health, and curiosity on my top 5 list, but it's not like they're not there. And like we said, like, there's hundreds of words that you can go find on the internet and peruse, find your definitions, which one fit me. But it's a good check for when we do get into, I think when we get wrapped into what everyone else is saying about the things that can be done, the kind of self-care that we should be doing, or the way that we should be taking care of our family. If we check them, like you said, against our values, are they helping us or hurting us?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to probably just have a reflection and probably another conversation around that at some stage, because, yeah, it's often thought that we can have a top few values, or a top one maybe, especially in a lot of these exercises of tournamenting. Is it this or that, or this or that, and what's more important? But can we actually be boxed into only having one that stands out above all the rest? I don't think so, as mums especially. Yeah.
As humans, we have too many facets to confine us into just one word to say this is our. I mean, I'm sure it's possible to live by that one, but
yeah, exactly.
So many facets of us that we need to still
Mommy, I want the
recognize a
paper.
lot of other ones.
Mommy, I want the paper.
Yeah. So, in having said that, we would love to know if there's anything that has been stirred up for you while listening to this conversation, in what you value, in how you've might have reflected or changed over the years. We always encourage you to reach out to us, even though hitting that send button may be a little bit intimidating and scary at times. You can reach us on the muckedupmyselfcarepodcast at gmail.com, and we'll put all the details in the show notes. And always would love to open up a conversation and see what's been stirred up for you. So, yeah, I think we'll come back to part 2 of this discussion, just as far as, yeah, why those values are important and how they're coming through and all those sort of things. So, yeah.
Thanks, Linda. And until next week.
When you're
We
done.
hope you can unstuck your muck.
Bye.
When you're
Bye.
done. When you're done.
Bam, bam, can we do it again?